Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Échale Podcast. I'm your host, Jose Quintero. Oye, today I'm really excited because you guys know that Échale is all about echándole ganas a la vida, echándole un poquito de desmadre también, porque en esta vida se viene a luchar y se viene a triunfar. And I'm really excited right now. I'm in Chicago. What am I doing in Chicago? I'm here for a radio conference. And within this radio conference, you get to meet a lot of other radio hosts. And one of the persons that when I heard him go up on stage and talk, he had one of the best radio voices I heard. And I was like, whoa, where is this God coming from? And I'm so happy to have Danny Romero.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. You know, Tego Calderón said, échale sazón. Who else? Elvis Crespo said, échale pa' acá. Right?
Yes, there you go.
Just playing a little song association with your podcast name. Thank you so much for having me on.
No,
brother.
You know what? I appreciate you taking the time to come up to my room because we're filming this in my hotel room. I was literally like telling you on the way over here, like, bro, you know what? I appreciate because a lot of people, if I were to tell them like, yo, hey, I'm recording a podcast in my room. You want to come?
You want to come to my room? Man?
Yeah. You know, after the whole Harvey Weinstein Me Too movement, I don't know if that flows, right?
Yep.
All right. You know what? Let's go ahead and also mention the elephant in the room because one of the most inspiring things about you, aside that you have an amazing voice, aside that you do radio, aside of all the difficulties, you're an advocate for the blind community.
Yeah, bueno, como yo soy ciego, I have another avenue to explore, right?
Yeah.
And that avenue is to open doors for people after me, right? Like, I don't want to be selfish. I want to make sure that in this day and age, you know, radio has become so digital. And even with this podcast, you learn that it's become a visual thing.
Yeah.
So how do blind people get used to visual things? You know, being able to understand and have extra pairs of hands to say, hey, that looks good to go out. You know, that's not going to ruin your brand. And so that's a risky thing. But then also software and radio stations and how we make that accessible. Yeah. You know, my ultimate goal is to be on air. But if I can help out in that capacity, man, I want to be a game changer in that regard for an industry that I love so much.
No, you know what? I think you are a game changer. You're disruptive. Just being here in this conference, voicing your opinion, you're getting a seat at the table. People are seeing you, you know, for who you are.
Definitely.
So I think that's amazing. But I want to get to know you a little bit better because we met 15 minutes ago and I'm like,
seriously,
yo, bro, are you down to do this podcast? He's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I knew I loved radio since I was 6 years old. Okay, I was 6. The only thing I had, I lost my sight fully by 5.
Okay.
I was born with cataracts, and I lost my sight at around about 2 in one eye, 2 or 3. I have a prosthetic in my right eye. So it's funny, if you look, my left eye is blue. Okay. It's my real eye.
Oh, really?
But that's not my original eye color. So if you see my prosthetic eye, it's actually, they modeled it after my original eye color, which was brown. So a lot of people look at my left eye and they're like, oh my God, you have such a beautiful blue eye. But that was through all the surgeries and stuff like that, you know. But I lost my vision fully by 5. And I was fascinated by recording, first. Like, my mom had me recording at like 4 years old, singing over salsa songs on those little shitty Fisher Price toy recorders, right? And so, like, I was fascinated. And then at 6 years old, I got this toy microphone. And I was shocked that they were making these, but I got this toy microphone that went on an FM frequency. And you could probably only hear it like the next house over and nobody could hear your shit. But it was so cool that they had that because then I actually really got to play radio as a kid. So when I was 7 years old, I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in North Jersey. So I grew up right outside of Market 1, you know, I got all the New York stations. And so I came across a very legendary radio personality by the name of Elvis Duran.
Wow.
And Elvis Duran would be the show I would listen to going to school and coming up. And then I heard what he was doing every morning, brother. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like, there's something about the connection that you have with the listener, man. And so I just knew, like, since I was a kid, I was like, I want to do this. I want to make people laugh in the morning. I want to play games they also used to have alcohol in the mornings and chicken parm sandwiches and pizza and places bringing in good food from New York. And so like, I'm like, who wouldn't want a job talking shit on the radio, getting fat and laughing for 4 hours and go home? Like, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Obviously, we've learned radio's way more than that.
Of course.
And so, you know, now it's like a little pipe dream to have that type of situation. But that was the illusion I had as a kid. And so I just really took it serious, man. When I got computers, I started doing my own internet radio shows. Wow. And I built a show about 10 years ago. It was called The Dan Show. It was a bullshit ass name. It was dumb. But here's the thing. I kept going with it for so long. Radio personalities were starting to call in willingly. Wow. Like without me having to ask them or prompt them. And it was people from Elvis Duran's show. It was people from some other radio shows around the country that were syndicated. Wow. And I was like, holy shit, like we're making it.
It's getting traction.
It's getting traction. So you want to know how it fell apart?
Well, okay. How?
Yeah.
Why?
Bad news.
What?
One of my co-hosts got with the female co-host.
Oh my gosh. That
and they fucked my show over, man. I still resent them a little bit till this day.
Okay, so your show had 3 people in it, you being one of it, obviously.
It was 5, actually.
Okay.
It was 5. I had 3 male.
But they took out the chemistry, basically.
Literally.
And they had
it took
chemistry.
2 people. Yeah. It took 2 people to just ruin a machine.
Tell me that they're at least together now.
No.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Damn,
she's still in radio though, and I love her with all my heart. So shout out to you.
You know who you are, right?
You know who you are.
You destroyed it all.
I love you.
Kidding.
Yeah.
I do want to take it back a little bit and talk about, because you said you lost your eyesight at 5 years old. How was that as a 5-year-old? Did you have any resentments towards a higher being? Did you have any like questioning, like, why is this happening to me type of scenario?
Yo, mi mamá es la puertorriqueña.
Oh.
Okay. And she let me be a kid.
Dude,
you know,
that's
like I had the best support in the world. I had, you know, this is a story I always tell people, and I've started writing a book because I feel like, you know, I've been very fortunate. You know, I always ask people, like, if you can tell yourself, if I died tomorrow, would I be happy with the life I've lived up to this point? I can say yes. And if you can't, then you really have to change that. You have to change that. Because only you can make the life that you want. And so when I was a kid, we had a pediatrician. We lost her to breast cancer. Her name was Dr. Katz, and she insisted. She would would lovingly yell at my mom, "Don't you dare put this kid in blind school. Don't put him in blind school. There's nothing wrong with him. All he needs is to be around everyday sighted kids." And so my whole school, I went to public school. I was around sighted kids. I had sighted friends. I didn't really know blind people until I started going to a camp. And then until I started getting on the internet. And that's when I found a whole other world of blind people. But that wasn't how I grew up. And so my mom let me be a kid, though. You know, she let me ride bikes. She let me ride scooters. She let me fall. She let me hurt myself, you know. And how did I come back from that? Well, I'm able to travel. I'm able to do everything that I wanted to do. You know, outside of high school, 11 years ago, I got to work for Mark Anthony in New York City.
What?
And
did you meet J-Lo? Was he with J-Lo at that time? I'm gonna be so jealous.
Ready? You ready for it? It was during the divorce. Oh. It happened right. I was there right when the divorce happened.
What?
Swear to you. And one of my jobs was actually to be on Tabloid Watch for all the negative press that was coming out about Mark.
Oh, my God.
But, you know, that was an eye-opening experience for me because, you know, everything I've always said, like my book, when I eventually get to finish my book, the main focal point is going to be about manifestation. Because one of the things I always used to tell myself as a kid, even though I didn't go into New York a lot because my mom hates crowds, my mom hated that kind of stuff, but I always used to tell myself, like, I'm going to work in New York. Even if it's once, I'm going to work in New York. And
Do you have a title?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a title for the book?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that's always like the hardest part.
Yeah, you know, I've played around with some titles. But I definitely have almost settled on My Life is a Book.
Wow.
Because I feel like everybody's life is a book, but it only only a certain amount put it in a book. And so I think really just drawing that in and being like, my life is a book. Yeah, well, mine is too. Why is yours so interesting? And I feel like that'll be a captivating title. But that's a good while coming, man, because I have so many other projects under my belt and so many ideas. And then just being here at this conference and linking up with like-minded radio guys like yourself and other people who really are passionate about the business, it really has it lit a fire under my ass, bro.
That's
I'm
amazing.
telling you, so.
I think that is the purpose of this conference. I think for me, every time I hear people who are on that panel, I'm like, why can't I be on that panel? Next year or a couple years from now, that could be me if I keep pushing myself. And like you said, it lit a fire under my ass. And it was a reminder of like, hey, you need to start posting more. Hey, you need to start working on your content a little bit more. Hey, you need to start reaching out and collaborating with other people like I'm doing so with you right now.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful to also meet people from across the country who are still in radio and love radio, because radio ain't gonna die. And that is probably a huge focus of this conference that a lot of people have been mentioning. Hey, is radio a dying media?
You know, it's funny you said that because I struggle with that a lot. And then I heard a panel today. We're recording this on a Friday. I heard a panel today, and one of the guys was like, everybody has always thought that radio was going to die. When records came out, people thought radio was going to die. When CDs, tapes came out, people thought radio was going to die. When the internet came out, people thought radio was going to die. Radio's still here, and it's not going anywhere. You know why it's not going anywhere?
Why?
Because it's free. Because you can get in your car and you can turn it on.
Yeah.
Everything else you have to set up.
Yeah.
There is a process. Oh, yeah, you want to hear a song through Spotify? Oh, I have to hit the Bluetooth, have to set up the Bluetooth with my car, have to make sure that it's connected, you know what I mean? Like, there's a process. With radio, you can turn it on, and we're there.
Yeah.
We're in your ears.
I mean, there's even a song, Video Killed the Radio Star.
Video Killed the Radio Star.
And
my man.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing song. I love that song. But I'm like, Radio Star's still here, baby.
That's right. And the videos are gone.
Exactly.
And the video, MTV doesn't play video. They should change their name.
Yeah. Dude, I grew up on MTV Tres, and like obviously growing up in Mexico, I would listen to and see the videos on TV.
Yeah.
How is that? I've always been curious. When somebody goes completely blind, do their senses heighten?
I think their senses become more focused. I don't think they're heightened. Like, I think people have this misconception that you hear louder, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you feel better than the next person, or you feel more sensitively than the next person. But I think it's just more heightened. You know, when I think of it as, if you hear a bang across the room, your first thing is to go,
look,
what the hell was that?
Where was it? Yeah.
I'm definitely going to turn my head in that direction, but I'm listening. I'm putting my ear out. What was that? So it's just as reflective. I'm just doing it a different way. You're using these. I'm using these.
What are some other misconceptions that they have about the blind community?
I think that we... It's rooted out of ignorance, and so I understand it, but it's ultimately not asking for if somebody wants help. So like, I don't want to use the word consent because I feel like that word is used way too fucking much, but like more so just like, hey, would you like some assistance? Instead of just grabbing somebody.
Yeah,
and I think people don't
do that often. Like, oh my God, you need help.
Oh yeah.
You're like, yo, I can take care of myself. That stuff, right?
Like, it's amazing some of the stuff people will say, you know, or some of the stuff people will ask you. You know, I've had people ask me, how do I have sex? Wow. I've had people ask my child's mom, how does he wipe his ass?
Oh, you have.
I have a daughter.
Yeah,
I have a daughter.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have an 8-year-old daughter. Man, she's beautiful. She's her name is Melanie, and so. You know, I've lived life. Like, I've gotten to the opportunity to live life. I've gotten the opportunity to shake hands with some amazing people. And that was because it was my hard work. You know, I'll be honest with you. I was kind of a villain in the blind community for so long because people were like, oh, you think you're better than a lot of us because of where you're going in your radio career. And I never, ever wanted anybody to feel like I was better than them. If anything, I'm trying to fucking fight for you.
Yeah, you're being an advocate in a space where it's not common for people in the blind community to be at.
Yeah, and I've met a couple people here who are like, there's blind guys. There have been a couple blind guys who have been doing radio for 30, 40 years. But if you think about it, they came into radio when CDs were still a thing, when tapes were still a thing. So no, they weren't getting them brailled, but it was definitely memorization.
Yeah.
It was physical media. It's not like today where it's all computers. So I think I'll be the first one and a pioneer in this iteration of radio.
That's beautiful.
When it's all gone digital.
Yeah, because you think of, like, I put myself in your shoes in the sense that if I had your disability, it would be difficult. But I do have to say, when I was setting up all this camera equipment and using my laptop, and I'm like, oh, I got audition, and some of the equipment isn't working. Who was helping me step by step? My boy Danny Romero. And I'm like, yo, how do you know? Like, but again, like you said, it's rooted in ignorance. And yes, I am ignorant in the sense that, like, I didn't know how far your capabilities could go, and they are huge.
Everything is perception, right?
Yeah.
Like.
And I'm glad you're having this conversation with me. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Anytime. I appreciate you being so open to ask me questions, because people are just so nervous to even get to know me sometimes because they don't want to offend. And I don't think you can offend if your intentions are right. I think that everything is intent. You ask questions with intent. You're asking me, how do you know? Not out of disrespect, but like, you probably are like, I had a tough time trying to figure all this shit out myself.
And I've used it before.
Right? And so there's this surprise. And so I don't take it as disrespect. Everything is intent. Now, if you come up and you say, how are you supposed to know that you're blind? That's a whole different story. Because, like, what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I had a question growing up. Obviously, one part of it being young at 5, going blind, but being Latino, because nosotros los latinos somos mucho de carrilla.
Sí.
I mean, yo soy mexicano, you're Puerto Rican
and Colombiano.
Colombiano, parcero. I told him my whole story. Like, I have a past life from Antioquia, so for all Colombian people, parceritos.
Yes,
I
sir.
love las bandejas paisas. They're all mine.
Bandeja paisa.
Yeah, but how is that in a Latino community? Because I can see it go both ways, being from so much love and support to being super carrilla, offensive within your primos, primas, etc.
Bro, I was very fortunate. I grew up in the East Coast, right? In the East Coast, a fuck you means I love you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if
with
again,
the Jersey accent right there,
yeah, exactly.
Fuck you.
Fuck you means I love you, right? And so the reality is I've been able to see exactly what I was talking about a second ago is intent. The one thing that I'll always have difficulty with in Latin communities is Latin families. The Latin community is they're overly helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of demeaning the way they talk to you and the way they kind of laugh at you a little bit, like, ay, pobrecito, necesita ayuda, ay, pobrecito. It's like, you wouldn't do that to another grown-ass man who's sighted and who's walking next to you at the mall. So why do you feel like you need to do it to me? And I think that's the biggest thing. But, they come from pain. Latin communities, our ancestors, they came from pain. They came from hard work. They came from, like, they weren't used to any of this shit. Yeah. So sometimes, and all this is learned, so sometimes you have to take a step back too and realize, like, they're coming from a place where they truly, truly did not understand. They weren't exposed to this. They weren't like other countries, Latin countries, and this, like, they're not open to disabilities like the U.S. is.
Yeah.
They're just not. They're not experienced with it. They don't really know how to. I had a homie who, he's a Puerto Rican dude from the Bronx originally. He lives in Pennsylvania. He was able to get a whole Spanish version of a screen reader we used to hook up this man who went blind in the Dominican Republic. And it's all in Spanish. and he made sure that it was a fully licensed copy for him so that he could use it. And that's the type of stuff that I love. It's like opening those doors for people in these countries who would never know. But in New Jersey, I grew up with my Puerto Ricans and my Dominicans and my Colombians and my Peruvians. And it was food. Yeah, oh my God, yeah, bro. And it was a lovely experience because a lot of them did respect me. A lot of them like saw who I was. I had two sides in the high school. I always say this. I had two sides. One side thought I was an asshole. The other side thought I was extremely talented because I sing and I play keys and I rap. And
you sing, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
We're about to do a collab right here. All right, we're gonna do re mi fa sol la ti do.
You know, it's so funny because a lot of people on radio just know me for radio.
No,
they
but
don't
you have
know
the voice.
They don't know that I sing out here.
Okay, well, funny enough, and sorry to sidetrack a little bit, but they always say que un radio host es un cantante frustrado. Like we always want to.
That's so real, bro. Yes, sir.
Because we always try to sing over the songs.
That's true.
And we're always like, we're hoping our big break comes in.
Right.
Yeah, I tried
man.
to do that, and then my co-host, or she's the actual host, I'm the co-host, the sidekick, whatnot. She's an actual singer, and she's like, "Stop!
Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do
I'm
that."
Like, okay. Yeah, she leans
bro.
in a funny way. I love her.
Of course, always a good time.
But that's funny that you also, but you actually sing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We're gonna put it to a test.
You want to do it right now?
I'm down. What do you like to sing? Well, I mean,
I love everything, man. I love everything from you said
you were with Mark Anthony.
Yeah, I love Mark. I love Stevie Wonder. I love. I love a lot of R&B stuff just because I get to really have some fun.
Obviously, you're Puerto Rican, but some Bad Bunny.
That's a tough one for me. I can't stand Bad Bunny.
You're lying.
I'm one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Okay, I'm stopping.
I'll do a little something for you, though. I'll do a little something for you.
I have 1 point on Bad Bunny right now that we'll get to, but go for it. I'm gonna let you pick a song.
Let's go. All I do is think about you. All I do is think about you.
Dang, okay.
A little on the spot, a little nervousness, but.
So let's get into the topic of Bad Bunny because I understand and I can see why people don't like his music, but I want to know your point, then I'm going to give you mine.
Sure. I think, so it's so funny being only 29, but feeling like an old dinosaur sometimes, right? Because I came up on the reggaeton 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I came up on the Wisin y Yandel. I came up on the Rakim and Wise. I came up on the Plan Bs. I came up on the the Daddy Yankees and the Joel y Randy and you know what I mean? Like I came up on that kind of stuff. And so I'm a little angry and old now. And I hear these guys today, and I feel like once you've heard one song, you've heard them all. Now, so it's only the music factor. I appreciate what Bad Bunny is doing as a Puerto Rican and for his people. That warms my heart because we needed that. Yeah. We needed that. I feel like the Puerto Rican, I feel like the Boricuas were missing out on that. Yeah. And I feel like it was a detriment to who we were. And so I appreciate his successes because it really is showing that we could do it, bro. Yeah. Like there's nothing holding us back, bro. Like,
and it's awesome that you have the best of both worlds because I feel like Colombia was also one of those countries that was being misrepresented in the media by just like cartels and drugs. And then here comes
J Balvin.
Well, yeah, but we already had Shakira and we already had Juanes, and though they tried and they helped out the community, it wasn't until J Balvin, Maluma, and Karol G were like, yo, we're gonna
break grounds. Yeah, we're gonna break grounds here.
Yeah. So I was gonna mention that I do appreciate that about Bad Bunny. There are some songs, and then I'm gonna say this new album, Titi Me Preguntó. I'm sorry, I am all about that.
I'll tell you this.
It's different.
I'll listen to Bad Bunny though over Ozuna.
Oh yeah,
I will tell you that.
If you've heard Anuel, I'm sorry,
Anuel, but if you've heard one Ozuna song, you've heard them all.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing exciting about that guy. I really, though, for reggaeton today, I love the ladies. I love Becky G. I love Karol G. I love what's her Anita. I love Emilia. I love Nati Natasha. Yes, Maria Becerra. Like, I love the ladies. I feel like the ladies are killing shit right
I
now,
think
bro.
we're also in a time where like the future is female women empowerment, that you see it within the reggaeton community and you don't see it like the hip hop community, that they're bashing each other and you're like, whoa, we're not about that.
They're collaborating and like they're really, really giving each other space to shine. And I just love that so much. You could tell like you know, that the latest song with Nati and Becky G that went viral in the last year and like it went huge. And it made it even to top 40 radio. I do top 40 radio for a station in Florida, and we were playing it. And I haven't seen a reggaeton song, obviously, since Despacito. But before that, God, I can't remember the last time a reggaeton song was on the radio. Dang. And I think the last time was, I think, Rompe.
Oh, my God.
You know, Daddy Yankee in like 2005. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really special. It's really special that we're back here.
No, I agree. I think we're moving towards the right direction. And I also see so much collaboration that I appreciate, that the Colombianos, Puerto Ricans with Mexican regional artists. You know, like we have Camilo from Colombia, and then we got Grupo Firme. They just released a song last night. You know, and then obviously Maluma with Grupo Firme, all these, and I'm like, yes, this is like a child's dream.
Is what we want, bro.
When we had crossovers in cartoons, when we used to watch them and be like, yo, what the hell?
We gotta make this shit happen.
Yeah, I've always wanted a crossover between Pokemon and Digimon. That never happened, but
this
at
is
least
kind of like it. This is close to it.
Yeah, but we got different genres meshing with each other, which we appreciate.
Yeah, man, we needed it, bro.
Yeah.
We needed it. And you know, I hope we get to a point where we really enjoy making salsa again, because I feel like as much as we have our classics, but every time you go to a Spanish party, we're playing the same shit. Yeah. And you know, that's not to say that we don't enjoy those songs, but I want to hear some new salsa. I want to hear
some Victor Manuel.
Yeah, like I want to hear who is the 2020s iteration of Alberto Santa Rosa, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the other guy? It's like the guy, one of my favorite salseros of all time, and it's just his voice is amazing. He was like a little Mark. It was Huey Dunbar. He was part of DLG in the late 90s. DLG had that song, what is it?
No me preguntes de salsa, hermano, porque no sé.
Man, I forgot the name of that song. But, you know, I love salsa so much. And then, of course, I grew up around a lot of Dominicans, so I had so much exposure to merengue. And I had so much exposure to bachata. And then it wasn't until I was starting to date your women that
Mexican women? I was like, bro, you were dating my woman?
But Mexican women.
Oh, dude,
and
beautiful.
you know, that's when I started really learning about the regional Mexican music, and I like really getting acquainted with who was who, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, like it just happened like actually a couple years before Jenny Rivera died. And I remember when that story broke, and I remember seeing it go viral on social media, and I was like, damn, I'm really glad I knew that. I knew of her and I knew of her music before she passed, because I wouldn't want to be one of these guys like, oh, rest in peace to such a legend, blah, blah, blah. And I never knew not one song of hers, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's really cool.
Oh, dude, you know what? It's awesome to be able to talk about music, radio life with somebody as talented and as amazing and inspiring as
Thank you, bro.
I did want to ask, for the people who are listening and viewing on YouTube, what advice would you have to a parent that has a child with disabilities?
Let your child be a child. And don't let fear ruin your child's future. Don't let your fear. Yeah. Because that fear is not, they don't have that fear. They don't know what to be afraid about. If they just are let to live life trial and error, then they're going to have so much exposure to how the world works.
Wow.
I will tell you this, and I'll leave you with this, and I've talked about it many a time. I talked to my mom at 13 years old because I was upset. We had a little bodega at the corner of our house. It was about 4 houses away. So I didn't have to cross any streets. Nothing would happen. But they would never let me go. My brother...
Bodega would be a store.
Like a store, like a little convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call them in the East Coast. We go bodegas. And so my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, you know, I was 12, he was 10. They would send him to the store, but they wouldn't send me. And I would be annoyed. I'm like, I'm the older brother. Why aren't you sending me? But I knew it's because I was blind. So I'll tell you this, brother. I sat my mom down, and this is indicative to who my mom is, because she gave me the opportunity to feel comfortable enough to come to her. And still to this day, I love my mother. We have such a great relationship. And I mean, she's my number one. I love that woman with all my heart. And so at 13 years old, I was able to sit down with my mom and be honest and be like, hey, Ma, you're going to die.
Wow.
When I get older, and I'm not going to know how to do shit. And I'm not going to know how to do laundry. I'm not going to know how to do all these things. And I need to know what life is like. And so, like, not letting me go to the store is not cool. I said that at 13. You ready for the next bit?
What did you say? Or what did she say? How'd she react?
I traveled at 14
what the
to
year
meet
later?
a girl
Oh my gosh.
in Kentucky.
Trust me, no, bro. I traveled to Spain, so we're on the same boat. I'm glad.
So, you know, and then I just started traveling and I loved it. And, you know, by 21, I left to Denver. I lived in Denver. I lived in Washington State, right outside of Seattle. I've stayed some time in Missouri. Now I live in Indianapolis. And I have just tried to go everywhere, soak up life, and go from there.
Yeah, wow. Amazing, and so inspiring, Danny.
Thank you, brother. Hey, man.
Gracias.
Love you, man. Thank you so much for having me, brother. That's amazing.
No, I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to like invite people. I don't know if they can.
1000%.
Yeah.
Follow me all over social media.
Where?
At Romero on air. Romero on air. ROMERO. And you know, just check out my stuff on Instagram, check out my stuff on Twitter. I have a lot of people who gave me some great ideas about what I need to be doing going forward. So please keep a lookout for a podcast where I'm going to be interviewing major radio personalities, major names in the business. That's something I've wanted to do for the last 9 years. And then, of course, people have been going crazy about my voice here at the convention. And so I had a very big radio personality, syndicated show host, una mexicana. Tell me.
Arriba las mujeres.
Yes, bro. Tell
Hermosa.
me. Just so beautiful. I love you, Mexican women. You make me so happy. But you know, I just want to say they inspired me to go ahead and move forward with a TikTok channel where I'll just be letting people into me doing breaks so that they can hear my voice. And that's something I'm definitely going to be working on. So you'll be hearing me. It'll be so much fun. And just follow me, Romero on air, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And I also have a YouTube channel where I post up mashups. I show how I play audio games. There's audio games for the blind.
Awesome.
And so if you've ever wanted to know how we play some video games, come through there. I'll show you some stuff. And I also do tutorials on how I do radio imaging so that people know how I work my recording software too.
Awesome.
So I just want people to understand, like, there are people who love this business and love this industry. And if there's one piece of advice I could give that I could pass on from somebody, if there's something that you love, do it like you're making $1 million for it. And it'll pay off. It'll show. People will really, really believe in what you're doing if you put that type of work in it, even if you're not getting a cent.
Damn.
The mentality's real.
I think I have a soundbite. Hold up. Oh, well, is it here? Nope. Nah, bro. It was supposed to be a clap. It was supposed to be a clap. It was like a standing ovation. All right. So I want to go ahead and do one last thing ya para despedirnos. Porque pues hemos estado hablando en inglés.
Sí.
But obviously we are Latinos también.
Sí.
And I want to hear that radio voice in Spanish.
Bueno, búscame en línea. Romero on air. Por Twitter, TikTok y el Instagram. Y bueno, Llámame, mándame un mensaje, mujeres, ya tú sabes cómo está la vaina.
I love it. All right, Romero, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, brother.
No, thank you. And thank you guys for sticking around on Échale Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. We on all that. And Romero, una vez más, gracias, hermano.
Échale.
So.